So you move into the suburbs, maybe you're from the hood, maybe you're from the country. In other words, you want to know the best way to speak and to survive when you go to the suburbs. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of BMSL. I am your host, Ghost, and you guys see the title, so that's what we're talking about today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're getting value. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So moving to the suburbs is not an easy thing at all. You have to learn new language. You have to know how to interact. You have to know what networking is, and you have to know exactly how to benefit from professional opportunities should they present themselves. We're going over all of that, starting with community integration. See, when you're moving into the suburbs, one thing that you have to understand is your community that you're just moving into is different than the country, is different than the hood. They don't celebrate MLK Day. They don't march or anything like that. They have a different way of doing things, and that you're going to have to just be comfortable with. Okay. Now, community integration, you have to do things that the most of the community is doing. So on Thanksgiving, some people go to the food bank. Some people help at volunteer services. And these programs are in place not just to help people, but also as a place that you can network with people who may be business owners, who may be doing something that you're interested in. That you have to take advantage of. And that's a part of community integration. Okay. If you don't do this, the likelihood of you participating in business, maybe professional opportunities, which we will discuss later, is going to be very limited. Okay. So keep that in mind. Access to essential services. People in the suburbs that I know have the police on speed dial. They have doctors on speed dial. Okay. Now, if a situation pops up to where you need the police, you need emergency services, you need to know exactly what to say to them, how to interact with them, so that way you can get the best experience possible. I've seen too many cases of people who call the police show up, they get arrested or wrongly accused of doing something that they didn't do. Okay. To avoid all of this, the language that you use is going to be important. So I'll give you guys a brief overview of what I would say if I were to call emergency services. Hey, how's it going? My name is Ghost. I'm at 123 Main Street, Las Vegas, Nevada. We have a situation. Boom, 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 boom. Right? I'm explaining the situation. They know where I am. They know where I'm located at. They have my number. They're going to ask me some questions, and that way I can lead them into the right direction. Okay? So learning how to talk to the emergency services to get the most benefit is going to go a long way, because more than likely these people live in these communities. They have family in these communities, or they work in these communities on their off day. Maybe if they're a cop, they work at a Walmart and stuff like that, and they see you, they'll say, what's up? And they'll say, hey, I got this that I heard about, and maybe you can benefit that way. But starting with the language that you intend to use in that first interaction is going to be crucial. Okay, so keep that in mind. Number 3, you need to have a cultural understanding. So if I'm moving from Jackson, Mississippi, to Texas, to San Antonio specifically, because I joined the military, and also I'm getting a pretty good paycheck. I get to live off housing, off base, and I'm looking at a neighborhood called West Creek. Okay, let's just say that for a general example. Now, West Creek is a suburb in San Antonio. Okay, now you have to understand one thing about San Antonio. San Antonio is a melting pot of every race and every culture that there is, but the dominant culture is a Latino culture, okay? Meaning that they have fiestas, they celebrate that on a yearly basis. They have parties for a week or 2 weeks straight. One thing that you're gonna have to understand is that this is gonna be different than what you originally was brought up in. How you celebrate MLK Day and Memorial Day, your drinking and stuff like that, they have a whole week of Cinco de Mayo. They have a whole week of fiesta in Texas that they celebrate as well. So it's not really that much difference, but you have to have that understanding and knowing that, hey, this is what's going on. I'm okay with this, whatever the case may be. Now, if you're not okay with this, wrong place to move. But this is why it's important to do your research before you move into these neighborhoods and before you get this experience, so that way you have a general idea of what you're going to be dealing with when you step foot inside this city. Okay, appreciate the culture as well. This is going to be an important point, because you never know who people are. You don't know who people are related to in these areas as well. So not only do you need to understand it, but you need to have an appreciation for it and respect for it as well, because most people are going to have a respect for your culture. So you want to give that respect back to them by understanding that, hey, listen, I'm not Mexican, I'm not Latino, but hey, maybe I'll celebrate with you this one year, or maybe I'll celebrate with you next year, or whatever the case may be. But just keep that in mind. Every place is different. Every suburb is different. But specifically when you go to Texas, San Antonio, this is going to be the culture. Okay. Now, professional opportunities. I mentioned that in the beginning of the video, but your professional opportunities are going to depend largely on you. Now, what do I mean by that, Ghost? Well, very simple. How much did you integrate yourself into the community? How much do you have a cultural understanding? That's all going to play a part in you getting professional opportunities, like a chance to make more money, right? So you may be interacting with somebody's wife, and the husband may be running a business that you need access to. Now, if you had a positive interaction with that, she's more than likely going to influence him to do business with you. But if you had a negative interaction, he's going to know about it. He's going to be the first to know about it, and he's going to have you on his radar. So he's going to be saying, of course, no. He's going to say no to whatever request that you have, and you're just going to have to deal with that. Now, if you had a positive experience with that person, he's more than likely going to say yes, or be influenced to say yes based on the interaction that you had previously with his wife, with his cousin, whatever the case may be, his daughter as well. Also, keep in mind, these kids are working with their parents, and they are doing business on behalf of their parents as well. So maybe you run into somebody that's selling some chocolate or something like that, and you had a great experience with them. They're going to run home. They're going to tell their parents are going to want to appreciate you, whatever. Maybe you go to the same school, or you have kids in that same grade, and that way you can connect in that. And a person that you probably never had access to before, you now have access to. They're a lawyer, they're a doctor, they're a gynecologist, whatever the case may be, that can help you out, whatever business that you're using. Now, for me, professional opportunities involve networking, which means it involves me spending money in order to get what I want. For instance, my mentor does not work for free. So if I need something done, I'm going to have to pay $1,000 for an hour, and then I can listen to his advice. Here's the reason why I like to do that, because when you pay for something, you pay attention. Now, he's incentivized to give me the best advice possible because I gave him that $1,000 for an hour. Now, if I was getting that advice for free, he probably wouldn't be as invested. He'd probably give me bad advice, and he wouldn't be incentivized to give me good advice. Now, this is just from someone who's been in the suburbs my whole life, and I know how to move. So this is why I'm telling you this. You're going to have to invest monetarily into the services that you possibly may need into the future. Okay, so if you just get there and you need your car washed or something like that, type on Facebook, next door, open door. Does anyone in the neighborhood have a detailing or car wash service I can use? Set up a bi-weekly plan, set up a monthly plan, set up something so that way that you know that, hey, I'm invested in your business. I think this can help me, and they're going to be more incentivized to actually give you options and make sure that you succeed as well. This is just a part of being a part of the community. Again, very different than what you grew up with, very different than what you're used to, but it's worth it in the end. Okay. Now, support for family. Support for families is a huge one because a lot of people that I see, that I know personally, they send their kids to daycare, public school, things like that. Now, in the suburbs, generally speaking, people do not send their kids to public school. Generally speaking, people do not send their kids to daycare. Why? What do you do then? Well, very simple and very easy. Most of the time, people are stay-at-home wives. Most of the time, people are going to go to private school because it's a better education system. Now, and you're invested in your kid's life and you want the best outcome for them in the long term, you're going to make these moves. And this is what most people in the suburbs understand. Generally speaking, I don't want anybody coming on here saying that, oh, you said this is a fine net. No, generally speaking, some people might be different. Some people might be the same. Who knows? Who cares? But based off my experience, generally speaking, these things take place. Some people might even go to boarding school. Now, if you need something and if you followed everything that I mentioned when moving into a new neighborhood, you built the community, you understand the community, you understand the culture, you understand the police officers, emergency services that are being used, and you utilize them, this will be no problem. If you're coming in as a single dad, if you're coming in as a single mom, you need someone to watch your kids. The people that you interacted with will send their daughter, they'll send their son, they'll send somebody over in order to help solve that problem. That's just a part of being a part of the community. You will never have to want for anything, but first, you're going to have to invest in them. And most people don't want to make that leap. Quick story before I let you guys go. When I moved to Austin with my dad, my mom and my dad were divorced when I was 12. I did not understand at first what type of community I was walking into. Now, that being said, I needed to know quickly. And in order to do that, I networked. I met some people who were living in the neighborhood, and they told me the whole rundown. And so how I was moving from where I was coming from, which was England and Germany at the time, or maybe Texas at the time, I was exposed to something different, meaning that I was not used to this type of professionalism. I was not exposed to this type of adulthood that most people are living when they're living in the suburbs. Most people in the suburbs, 12, 13, 14, 15, most of the time are making their own decisions. Okay. Now, that being said, they call in favors. They have people supporting them if they need them. But I was stuck thinking the same thing over and over again. Now, when I needed something, they came to me and they helped me because I helped them. Whether I was helping around the house, cutting their grass, building a new fence, tearing up carpet, putting in tile, whatever. I did whatever was necessary in order so that when I needed something, I would get that done. And eventually that did happen. At first I struggled, as we all do. But then when I actually sat down and talked to somebody about it, that's when they gave me the answers. So I'm not here to say that I'm better than you. I'm not here to say that, hey, listen, you ain't shit for not growing up in a suburban neighborhood. Nah, I'm just literally giving you the keys to succeed in the suburbs. Now, the language we use plays hand in hand with all of this that I'm talking about. Okay, because as you start improving your relationships with people in the suburbs, you're going to start to change your language and your lifestyle based on where you want to go. Now, if you don't want to go anywhere, you want to kind of stay the same, you don't want to change, that's fine as well. Just understand it's only going to get you so far. Now, if you guys got value from the video, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys. I love you. Merry Christmas. If you guys want to check out some Christmas presents that you want to get for your boyfriend or your girlfriend, check the links down below. If you're interested in being a content creator as well, the links are going to be down below. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.